Hey guys, so the past couple of days we've been looking at parallel lines and the angles that they form along with their relationship with each other. So today we're looking at proving that lines are parallel. So if we're proving that lines are parallel, that's our whole, so we're on pages 9 and 10. That's our whole emphasis for today. All right, to prove lines are parallel, you're going to use something called the converse statement. Ooh, I don't know why it didn't write. All right, so using the converse statement to prove lines are parallel. So with the converse statement, so you can see every single one of the theorems we're looking at today starts with the word converse of, blah blah blah, right? So that's going to be a common theme for today, is using that converse statement. And so if we were to go back in our notes for the other days, it has always been, if two lines are parallel, then we know this about these two angles. If two lines are parallel, then we know same side interiors are supplementary. It always started with if two lines are parallel. With the converse statement, we're going to switch that. So we're going to have, if we know this information about two angles, then lines are parallel. So it's helping us prove lines are parallel. So if we do this first example, the converse of corresponding angles is talking about if you have your picture, your image, and you have corresponding angles, and you see that your corresponding angles are congruent, like we learned yesterday. If that's the case, then the lines are parallel. All right, so it's working reverse. If you know this about the angles, then you know it about the parallel lines. All right, if we look at converse of alternate interior angles. If we see in our picture, we have alternate interior angles. And we see that those alternate interior angles are congruent. Then we know the lines are parallel. So again, these are the statements we use to prove lines are parallel. All right, the next one, converse of same side interior. So you're looking and we see that we have same side interior angles. I am shorthanding here. And what do we know about same side interior angles? They are supplementary, which means what? That they add to 180 degrees. All right, if you see that your same side interior angles are supplementary, then they are parallel. And our very last one, if you see that you have alternate exterior angles, and you see that they are congruent, then those lines are parallel. All right, so this is just working backwards. Yesterday we focused on, we know the lines are parallel, so now we know this about the angles. Today we're flipping it. We know this about the angles, so now we know the lines are parallel. All right, that's what the focus of today is, and the big key with that is using the word converse. That means we flip what we know. So in this example down here, it says which lines are parallel if, and then why. So this is very similar to an activity we did on the first day of these notes back on Tuesday, where you were given, where we had to pick out certain angles within our picture, and pick out what lines, what were the side-by-side lines and what were the transversals. So let's get started with this. It's a little bit different. So we have angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. So let's kind of highlight angle 1, highlight angle 2. All right, I know that those two angles that I just colored in red are congruent to each other. So it's asking me, which two lines are parallel, and if so, why do we know that? So before you pick out the parallel line, sometimes it's easier to pick out the transversal. The transversal is either going to run directly in between your two angles or right beside it. So this line, angle line B, is going to be our transversal. It's running right beside our two angles. And it's touching both angles, as you can see. All right, and then our parallel lines are what is cutting across that transversal. So for this problem, I can see that line C and line D are my parallel lines. So I'd put C is parallel to D. Those are my two parallel lines. Now why? All right, whenever you're saying why lines are parallel and you're using your reason, these are parallel because, we have to use the converse statement. So we have converse of, and now we need to ask ourselves, angle 1 and angle 2, what type of angles are they? Are they same side interior? Are they alternate exterior, alternate interior, corresponding to what is their relationship there? What type of angles? These are corresponding angles. So this is going to be converse of corresponding angles. All right, let's do our next one. I'm kind of erase what I got going here. The next one says that angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. So here's my angle 2. Here's angle 6. I need to figure out what lines I'm focusing on, so I may want to pick out the transversal first. So here's my transversal. And then if we pick out the two parallel lines that are going to cross that transversal. All right, so looking at this, what two lines are parallel in this situation? This one has lines A and B are parallel. Those are the side-by-side lines. So A is parallel to B. Why are those parallel? So we're going to use that converse statement again. Converse of, and what types of angles are 2 and 6? Those blue colored angles that I have, what type of angles are they? They are alternate interior angles. All right, let's do another one. It says angle 1 plus angle 5 equals 180 degrees. If two angles are adding to 180 degrees, that means they are supplementary. All right, just make sure we know that vocabulary. So let's highlight in on angle 1 and angle 5. Again, find that transversal. It's running right beside the two of them. And then our two parallel lines. All right, so in this situation, what are our two parallel lines? It is once again A and B. So A is congruent to B. And not congruent, A is parallel to B, I'm sorry. And my reasoning, remember we always have to say the converse of when we're explaining why lines are parallel. Converse of, what types of angles are angles 1 and 5? What type of angles add up to 180 degrees? Those are same side interior. All right, in just a second, a question is going to pop up, and I would like for you to answer this question. Angle 8 is congruent to angle 3. I want you to answer that one in the box that's going to pop up, or write it down on your paper. But if there's a box pop up, type it in there. So I want you to tell me what lines are parallel, and then I want you to tell me why. Make sure you're as specific as possible with that why. Use the correct language. So go ahead and pause this and answer that question for me. Hopefully you answered that question. If you notice, I've now switched my screen to this flow proof, which is down below. We're going to kind of put this to the side for right now. We're going to talk about this in class. All right, so just put that flow proof to the side. And we're going to go ahead and flip over to this page right here. It says to find this. So these problems right here are worded very oddly, I will admit. Okay. It says find the degree of the missing angle that would make lines U and V parallel. All right, that's really weird language to just say to solve the problem. Solve for missing variable. All right, you're just solving it. That's all we're doing here. Okay, so we have 55 degrees and that question mark can be our x. We just need to solve for x. That is all we need to do. All right, so first off, what types of angles are these? 55 and x, these are going to be same side interior. And what do we know about same side interior? They add to 180 degrees. So remember, we're adding to 180 degrees. We set up that equation. 55 plus x equals 180 degrees. Subtract 55 from both sides. And so we are left with x equals 125. So we found the degree. We found that missing variable. We found that x. It's 125 degrees. Now, kind of as a bonus, so we now know that U is parallel to V because of what? Which statement did we use? Remember, if we're explaining why they're parallel, of the converse of what types of angles are they? What type did we just use? Converse of same side interior. All right, I would like for you to solve this one on your own. Tell me this value of x. And then tell me which converse statement is making those lines parallel. So I want the value of x and then that which converse statement is working here. All right, so go ahead and pause this, figure that out, and answer your question in the box that pops up. All right, hopefully you did answer that question. So now we're going to look at this last example here. It says find the value of x that makes lines U and V parallel. Again, exact same thing. All right, so we're just going to solve for x. So we've got 70 and we're going to say that's 9x minus 2. So we need to first off figure out what type of angles are these. These are alternate interior angles. And what do we know about alternate interior angles? They add to 180 degrees. And if something adds to 180 degrees, we are going to set up our equation to solve. So we would add these 70 plus 9x minus 2 equals 180, right? Setting them up, equaling them. Ooh, man, y'all, I am not in this. These are not adding to 180 degrees. I am so sorry. All of you on this are probably telling me I'm crazy. All right, these are alternate interior angles. They do not add up to 180. I am so sorry. I got distracted. Alternate interior angles, what are they? They are congruent. My bad, guys. So when they are congruent, we set them equal to each other. So 70 equals 9x minus 2. All right, and so if we solve for x, we add 2 to both sides. 72 equals 9x. Divide by 9 on both sides. So we have 6 equals x, which would be our answer. So now we have that lines U is parallel to V because of the converse of alternate interior angles. All right, so I want you to solve this one over here. Figure out what x is and tell me what converse statement we're using. I'll help you get started just to make sure we're all on the same page. These two angles right here are same side interior. Now this one, what do we know about same side interior angles? These add to 180 degrees. So when we set up this problem, we should have 7x minus 10 plus 12x equals 180. So that's where I'm going to leave you. Go ahead and combine like terms, solve for x, and give that answer to me in the blank space that pops up. All right. If you have any questions, we will answer them tomorrow. Make sure you answered all 3 of my questions within the pop-up question menu.